Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I am going to make a video about my conversion to Islam or reversion and how that came to be. So, at first, how I grew up, my family is Catholic, and so I kind of was, I mean, not everybody's completely religious in my family, but my grandmother, she's always gone to Mass on Sundays, and I remember always going with her, but I never really understood a bunch of it. Like, it never really made sense to me. But I didn't question it. I was just like, maybe that takes time to understand. So I would study it. I remember reading the Bible, and still there were some things that I just didn't make sense to me. A lot of the stories and stuff I liked, but there's some things that kind of contradicted itself, and so I would actually pick and choose what I liked out of it. I'd be like, well, this I didn't like, so I would reject that, and then there were some things I did like, and I would accept that, but it's like it's a religion. It should be perfect, and so I remember I turned Christian for a while, and that made a little bit more sense, but yet again, some of the practices and things didn't make any sense to me, and same thing with the Bible. I tried to understand it. I would talk to pastors. I'd ask lots of questions. I was in youth group. I've gone to youth conventions. It was fun, but I always felt like there has to be more. And still I was into that pick and choose. So I remember kind of turning atheist for a little while, because I was like, is this all there is? This is, it doesn't make any sense, and I just didn't understand some of it. And it's like, especially with the whole Trinity thing, and I never accepted that. I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. And so then after I was feeling like, kind of lost for a while, I started looking into other religions. And I remember one of my big studies was Hinduism, and that was really interesting, and you look into a lot of other religions also, and you can kind of tell, and I kind of noticed like similarities between a bunch of them, and some completely way off, and then some who are like, oh, that sounds kind of familiar to this religion, and that kind of, to like some of the core stories that are in their teachings, which kind of was interesting. So I learned a lot more because I used to help co-teach a cultures class and at my college, and we were doing like a lecture on different religions and different cultures, and that's how I started to learn more about it and get more fascinated with it. And but Islam was not one of the ones that I was looking into at the time. I remember thinking a little bit about it. I wanted to learn about it after the whole 9/11 thing, because it didn't really click with me that Islam was, as they say in media and other things that people would accuse of as being terrorists and everything. But back then I do remember like believing media, but now I know that's like absolutely false. I don't even watch TV anymore. It's full of just false accusations, and it angers me every time I watch TV. So anyway, or at least just the news. Well, some of it's accurate, some of it's not, but still, I mean, not on Islam, but like on other topics, just to clear that out so nobody's like, hey, no. Okay, anyway. Um, yeah, so that was like not one of the things on my top list, but I was interested in learning about it, and it didn't really come to my attention till a friend of mine actually converted, and that was kind of like a shocker. I was like, whoa, you know. And I'm in this like hometown of Hutchinson and in Minnesota, and there's no Muslims or anything over there. Most people are like either Christian or Lutheran or Protestant or something, but no Muslims. And he would kind of tell me some things about it, and it was kind of going against my original ideals of what I used to think about them. And I was like, well, this sounds interesting. So I started looking into it. I started studying it, and I was completely blown away. At first, I just had this feeling. Once I started reading the Quran, I was like, this makes like absolute sense. And like there was just this feeling that came over me, and like all the questions that I had, that I asked the pastors and things, and previously that I would look into, other religions that I couldn't find, and I found it in there, and it just made absolute sense. It made sense historically, it made sense scientifically, it made sense spiritually. There's just many things that, answered a lot of my questions. So it took some time, but it was kind of brief, because with all this new knowledge and stuff that I was, acquiring, the more I learned, the more I felt like I didn't know anything. And so I just felt like I had to. I felt like time was limited, and like we never know when our last day is, and I just felt like just this strong feeling like I just had to. And I really can't even explain it to this day. And there's a lot of things that kind of happened after I took Shahada and everything that, it's only, you just have to believe, in the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was all written already. So, it's just thinking back on it, it was really great. I mean, everything that I learned and what I'm still learning so far. I mean, I know I never rush into things, and that's one of the things though too, is I never rush into things. Like, I always fully evaluate things first, but it just hit home so hard. It was like, whoa, and it was pretty much a shocker to everybody else. But my family, they're doing pretty good. They're pretty accepting about it, so they're really great. I love them very much. And